I never imagined my life would unravel like this. The house, once filled with laughter, now felt like a hollow shell of deceit. My fingers gripped the suitcase handle, veins pulsing with suppressed rage. Clothes hit the open bag in quick succession. Shirts, jeans, shoes, each item thrown with a force fueled by betrayal. Behind me, footsteps thundered down the hallway. Then her voice, sharp, panicked, laced with incredulity. "What the hell are you doing?" I didn't stop. Didn't even turn. If I saw her face, I might shatter. My heart still ached despite the fury coursing through me. "Leaving," I muttered, jaw clenched. Her perfume lingered in the air, but now, instead of comfort, it reeked of deception. The same scent she probably wore while lying beneath another man, moaning his name instead of mine. She rushed forward, grabbing my wrist. "Wait! What are you talking about?" I yanked free. "Don't insult me, Clara. I know everything." Silence. She froze, lips parted, searching for a defense. My phone buzzed in my pocket, but I ignored it. I already had all the proof I needed. A few nights ago, I had returned from work earlier than expected. The living room lights had been dimmed and Clara was nowhere in sight. Then a hushed voice from upstairs, hers, followed by a deep chuckle. My stomach had knotted, instincts screaming something was off. I had crept up the stairs, heart hammering against my ribs. The bedroom door had been ajar just enough to see them tangled together, her bare back against silken sheets, his lips trailing her skin. The sight had knocked the air from my lungs. I had staggered back, bile rising, mind struggling to process the gut-wrenching betrayal. I hadn't burst in. No, I had turned and left, fists clenched so tight my nails cut into my palm. I needed a plan. Now, standing in our bedroom, my resolve hardened. Clara stepped closer, reaching out as if her touch could erase everything. "Please, let's talk. It's not what you think." I scoffed. "Not what I think? So I imagined you screwing another man?" She flinched. It was a mistake. Whose, yours or mine, for trusting you?" Tears welled in her eyes, but I refused to let sympathy weaken me. I zipped the suitcase, yanked it off the bed. "Where will you go?" she whispered. I met her gaze, fire in mine. "Anywhere but here." Before she could say another word, I walked out, leaving behind years of love, trust, and every illusion she had destroyed. I reached the doorway, heart hammering against my ribs, fingers tight around the handle of my suitcase. Behind me, Clara stood motionless, eyes wide, her breathing uneven. For years, she had been my world. Now she was nothing but a stranger wearing the face of the woman I had once loved. "You don't have to do this," she pleaded, voice cracking. "We can fix it." Fix it? The sheer audacity of her words sent a fresh wave of anger through me. My fingers curled into a fist before I exhaled sharply, forcing myself to remain in control. "Fix what, Clara?" "The way you betrayed me. The way you let another man have what was supposed to be mine." Her lips trembled. "I still love you." I let out a bitter laugh. "Love? If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this." She rushed forward, hands gripping my arm. "Please, listen to me. I swear it didn't mean anything." I yanked away. "Stop lying." My voice thundered through the room, raw and full of pain. "I saw you. I heard you," Clara gasped, eyes darting downward. Her body trembled. The truth had finally sunk in. There was no escaping this. "Who is he?" My voice was quieter now, deadlier. She hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. "Someone from work," she finally admitted. Rage threatened to consume me whole. So, all those late nights, the extra meetings, that was all bullshit, wasn't it? Clara wiped at her tears, but they meant nothing to me. Not anymore. "It was just a few times," she whispered, but even she didn't believe it. My grip on the suitcase tightened. "You disgust me." She let out a sob, but I turned away, walking toward the door. She tried again, reaching out, desperate. Don't go. Please, I'll do anything. I stopped. Slowly, I turned my head, staring at her. Anything? She nodded frantically, hope flickering in her expression. Yes, anything. My lips curled into a smirk, but there was no amusement in it, only cold, burning hatred. Then suffer. With that, I walked out the door, leaving her sobbing behind me. The night air was sharp against my skin, but nothing could cool the fire raging inside me. My grip on the suitcase tightened as I strode toward my car. Every step away from that house, away from her, felt like breaking free from chains I hadn't even realized were there. Clara's sobs echoed behind me. Please, don't leave like this. We can fix this. I kept moving. My boots hit the pavement with steady determination. I love you, she cried out. That made me pause. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. You love me? You sure had a funny way of showing it. I reached for the car door, but before I could open it, she was there, grabbing my arm, eyes wild with desperation. I was stupid, okay? I made a mistake, but we can move past it. I turned, staring down at her. For the first time, I saw her for what she truly was, a woman who had taken my love for granted, who had destroyed everything we built with careless hands. Tell me something, Clara, I said, voice eerily calm. Did you ever think about me? When you were with him, when he was touching you, when you let him have what was mine, did I ever cross your mind? Her lips parted, but no words came. That was all the answer I needed. I nodded slowly. That's what I thought. Her grip on my arm tightened. Please, don't do this. We've been together for years. Don't throw it all away over one mistake. I yanked my arm free. I'm not the one who threw it away. You did, the moment you let another man into our bed. She shook her head frantically. It wasn't like that. I swear it meant nothing. I scoffed. And yet, you did it anyway. Her face crumpled, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. I was lonely. You were always busy, always working. I just wanted to feel wanted again. A cold, hollow laugh escaped me. So your solution was to spread your legs for someone else? You couldn't talk to me. Tell me how you felt. I didn't plan for this to happen, she sobbed. It just did. I shook my head in disgust. People don't just accidentally cheat, Clara. You made a choice, and now you have to live with it. I turned back to the car, opening the door. She grabbed my hand, clinging to it like a lifeline. I'll do anything. Please. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I had once loved was gone. In her place stood a liar, a cheater, someone who had taken everything I had given her and thrown it away without a second thought. My jaw clenched. You want to do something for me, Clara? She nodded desperately. Yes, anything. I leaned in, my voice barely above a whisper. Then suffer. Her breath hitched, eyes widening in horror. Without another word, I pulled away, got into my car, and drove off. I didn't look back, not even once. Let her drown in the consequences of her own actions. The road stretched ahead, dark and endless. Streetlights flickered in the distance, their glow casting eerie shadows along the pavement. My fingers gripped the steering wheel so tightly, my knuckles turned white. The weight in my chest wasn't just anger, it was grief, betrayal, and the slow, suffocating realization that the life I had built with Clara had been a lie. Wind roared past the half-open window, but it couldn't drown out the echoes of her voice. I love you, I'll do anything. Lies. Every word out of her mouth was laced with deception. I clenched my jaw, forcing my mind away from her pleas. She had already stolen enough of my time. I wouldn't give her another second of my thoughts. My phone vibrated on the passenger seat. I glanced down. Clara. I let it ring. Then another call, then another. I grabbed the phone and switched it off. The silence was a relief. My destination wasn't clear, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going back. 15 minutes later, I pulled into a motel parking lot, the neon sign buzzing overhead. The place wasn't much, just a row of small rooms with peeling paint and flickering lights, but it was exactly what I needed. A fresh start, even if just for the night. I grabbed my suitcase and walked inside. The receptionist barely looked up as I handed over my ID. Within minutes, I had a key in my hand. Room 108. I stepped inside, locking the door behind me. The room was small, the bed stiff, the air thick with the scent of stale cigarettes. None of it mattered. Dropping my suitcase by the door, I sank onto the mattress, rubbing a hand over my face. The exhaustion hit me all at once, not just physical, but emotional. Years of love wasted, trust shattered. I should have seen the signs, the late nights, the sudden distance, the way she smiled at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. The truth had been right in front of me all along. I had just been too blind to see it. A knock at the door jolted me from my thoughts. My body tensed. I wasn't expecting anyone. I stood, cautious, and walked toward the door. "Who is it?" A pause, then a soft, familiar voice. "It's me." Clara. My grip on the doorknob tightened. How the hell did she find me? I took a deep breath, forcing my voice to remain calm. "Go home, Clara. Please," she whispered. "Just let me talk to you." I exhaled sharply, resting my forehead against the door. She wasn't going to stop until she had the last word. Fine. I unlocked the door and swung it open. Clara stood there, eyes red and swollen, her hair a tangled mess. She looked broken. "You're wasting your time," I said coldly. She stepped closer. "I had to find you. I couldn't just let you leave like that." I crossed my arms. "And what exactly do you think is going to happen here? You think I'll let you in, hold you, tell you everything is okay?" She flinched but didn't back down. "I don't expect forgiveness, but I need you to understand. What happened, it wasn't about you." I laughed bitterly. "Oh, that makes me feel so much better. You let another man screw you, but it had nothing to do with me. Great. Thanks for clearing that up." "I was lonely," she whispered. "You were always working. You barely looked at me anymore." I took a step closer, voice low and dangerous. "So instead of talking to me, you spread your legs for someone else?" She sucked in a breath, her body trembling. "I messed up. I know I did. But I still love you." "Stop saying that," I snapped. "You don't love me, Clara. You loved the comfort, the stability. You loved knowing that no matter what, I would always be there." Her lips trembled. "I can fix this." I shook my head. "No, you can't." Her eyes darted to my suitcase. "You're really leaving me?" I sighed, exhaustion settling deep in my bones. "I already did." A tear slipped down her cheek. "Then why does this hurt so much?" I stared at her, feeling nothing but emptiness. "Because now you finally understand what it's like to lose something you thought would always be there." She let out a quiet sob, covering her mouth. I stepped back inside and shut the door in her face. For the first time in years, I felt free. The silence after the door shut was deafening. My heart pounded, but it wasn't from anger anymore. It was from clarity, from the weight lifting off my shoulders. For the first time in years, I wasn't drowning in the expectations of a woman who had never truly valued me. I turned the lock, sealing her out, sealing out the past. Through the peephole, I saw her still standing there. Her shoulders shook, her head tilted downward, hands trembling at her sides. She waited, hoping I'd open the door again, that I'd be weak enough to let her back in. I walked away. The bed creaked as I sat down, my fingers running through my hair. This is it. This is the end. The buzzing of my phone broke the stillness. I hesitated, then picked it up. A message, not from Clara. "Hey, are you okay?" The sender's name made my stomach twist, not in pain, but in something unexpected. Warmth. Lena. I exhaled sharply, my lips curving into the first real smile I'd had in months. Lena had always been there, though not in the way Clara had. She wasn't just a friend. She was the person who saw me when I thought no one did. The late-night conversations, the effortless laughter, the way she always seemed to know exactly what to say. I'd buried those feelings for so long, convinced that loyalty to my marriage meant silencing the part of me that longed for something real. But Clara had already shattered that illusion. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard before I finally responded. "I will be." A reply came almost instantly. "Do you want to talk?" Did I? I glanced at the door one last time. The shadow beneath it told me Clara was still out there, waiting, hoping. But she wasn't my future. She had made her choice. And now I was making mine. I grabbed my suitcase and stepped outside. Clara's head snapped up, her eyes wide with desperation. "Wait, please." I walked right past her, not stopping, not looking back. She called my name, her voice cracking with sorrow, but it meant nothing now. As I slid into my car, my phone buzzed again. Lena. A deep breath filled my lungs, and for the first time in years, I exhaled without regret. I typed out 2 words and hit send. "I'm coming." With that, I drove away, toward something new, something real, toward a future where love wasn't a lie,